And welcome into the Kansas City Urban Youth Academy on Motley Family Field. Today, afternoon baseball, East and Cristo Rey. East, the visitors, green tops, gray pants. Leadoff batter sends a chopper to third. And it will not make a play or a throw to first. The leadoff runner, Ivan Ovalle, is on with a chopper to third. Excuse me, that was LaDavion West who's on first. Takes off for second. Swing and a miss for Christopher Thornton. Cristo Rey pitcher Marcos Torres aligning his defense behind him. Ball high and inside. Hit batter. So we have runners on the corners, still nobody out. West have to go back to second, so it does not go down as a stolen base. So we have runners on first, runner on first, runner on second. Hit and run in order. Both runners coming around to score. Marcus Taylor driving in two with a single. Now the runner takes off for second, no throw. Cleanup hitter Ivan Ovalle steps in. Runner takes off for third, no throw. Pitch goes in as a strike. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Ball is low.
Good pitch, 12.
And a strikeout for the first out of the inning. Chopper by the pitcher. Mishandled by the second baseman, and another run comes around to score. Carlos Silva Gutierrez could not come up with it cleanly to make a play. So Marshall stands at first. And Marshall on the wild pitch winds up on second, thinks about going to third. Ball is in for a strike. Marshall takes off for third. One ball, one strike. Mario Puente steps back in. The count, 2 balls, 1 strike. Ball's inside, gets away from the catcher. That ball catches the front corner. Full count now. And Puente fouls one back to stay alive. And Puente takes his base on ball 4. Pitch gets into the dirt. Puente advances to second. Cleveland Garrett swings and misses. Strike 2. Two balls, 2 strikes. And Garrett hops back out of the way. Now the count is full. 2 runners in scoring position. That ball is outside, and so now the bases are full for the Bears.
Hey, deep breath, 1, 2, deep breath.
Yifeng View, now the batter. Looks at a ball away.
That's a good pitch.
Swing and a miss, strike two. And a hit by a pitch. That drives in another run, making it 4-0. Ball one. That ball is fouled back and out of play. Chopper back to the pitcher. Takes the force at home. That's the second out of the game on the fielder's choice. Goes down as 1-2 for the putout. First pitch is a strike. Swing and a miss. No balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. That ball, chopper down to first, rolls foul. Everyone returns back to their base. Arturo Vega. Actually, we're back to the top of the order, LaDavion West. Start things off with a single. And that ends the top of the first. Bears score 4 runs. Cristo Rey coming to bat in the home half of the inning. Back for the bottom half of the first inning. Second meeting of the season between these two teams. East won the first game 5-3 over Cristo Rey at the end of March, early part of the season. Carlos Guadalupe will lead things off. He looks at ball one. Fouls one back. Ball chopper to first. Segura with the play, Garrett with the play unassisted for the putout. Marcos Torres now steps in. It's in there for a strike. Chopper to second. Easy play there. 5-3. 2 up, 2 down for the Pumas. Fouled off. Lined foul to third. Timeout called. As we exchange baseballs. That ball is fouled high and out of play. Check swing. Perfect placement for the infield single. Overthrow. Gutierrez hustles down to second. Now it's Luis Ortega Segura. Gutierrez gets down, hustles down to third without a throw. 1 ball, no strikes. Chopper down to third, throw comes home. In time to nail the runner. Christopher Thornton with a rifle shot. And so the threat is nullified. After 1, East leads Cristo Rey 4-0. Back in the top of the third inning, and it's the hero from the bottom half of the first, Christopher Thornton, who gunned down the runner at home, leads things off, hits a chopper off the plate over the pitcher's head. That goes down for an infield single as Thornton legs that one out. Jorge Gonzalez now steps in. Pitcher steps off. Gonzalez steps out. Now he's back into the box. Runner takes off for second. And now caught in no man's land. We have a rundown. The ball gets away from second. And the runner winds up on third. Oh, the hit goes over the center fielder's head, drives in a run, and he is still running, trying to leg it out, and winds up on third base. Ivan Ovalle will now come up. Jorge Gonzalez drove in 2 in his first appearance. And excuse me, check swing. Pitcher looks the runner back to third and then gets the ball in time to first for the out. Chopper goes back to the pitcher. Pitcher was more concerned with holding the runner on third, willing to surrender the hitter, allowing him to get to first. So now, runners on the corners with 2 outs. Swing and a miss. Runner takes off for third. Puente looks at the strike. Foul tip. And that is strike 3.
Got 2.
Kate Cleveland Garrett late on the swing.
Back him up, back him up. Back him up, middle.
Ball gets away, runner takes his base. So now we have bases loaded, 2 out for Yi Fang View. That's in there, strike 1. Ball is outside. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Let's back him up, back him up.
Swing and a miss. Strike 2.
Any base.
Squares up to bunt. And gets caught looking for the 3rd strike, the 3rd out. Back in for the bottom of the 2nd inning, we also welcome in D. Jackson, my broadcast partner.
Good day, Tripoliums. What's going on? How you been?
Hey.
It's been a long time.
Living the dream.
I know you are. I feel like the maintenance man,
We're going to call you utility.
Yes,
'Cause
putting
I
the
mean,
U in utility, doing it just for you.
You know. Daniel Pena Medrano leading things off here in the bottom of the second for Cristo Rey.
Also want to thank our full crew. Miss Terry Brown's downstairs on one of the cameras, Jillian Johnson, and Maria Mantai also working the center field camera for you as we come to you from the beautiful facility of the Urban Youth Academy.
Man, if y'all haven't been out here, you got to get out here for a game. I mean, we were out here last week for, a day game. I'm waiting here for maybe the next 30 minutes once these lights come on.
Mm-hmm.
Get some high school baseball under the lights.
And, you also want to support the Urban Youth Academy because they have done a great job of facilitating the Interscholastic League baseball program. And, Cristo Rey comes down here, and there's a lot of different programs that get to benefit from having this synthetic artificial surface here. When we played down here at Parade Park, there was one field on this end, a field over there by the pool, which is now the Gregg Center, and we didn't have this type of opportunity. If it rained just a hair, that game was gone. That game was canceled. So, shout out to these guys who really are doing a fabulous job out here at the Urban Youth Academy to have youth baseball here in the inner city of Kansas City.
I mean, and there's, like, as you mentioned, so many programs. We have baseball. We also have softball. Then there's also clinics, teaching clinics, for the youth, for all the way through high school. There's classroom instruction. There's so many things that come to serve this community.
And one of the things that is overlooked and that you can't overlook is the indoor facility. There's a full baseball field indoors, batting cages, so these guys have no excuse not to work on their game and be the best that they can be. Hats off to Darwin Penny, Dayton Moore, everyone responsible for the dream of bringing the Urban Youth Academy here to Kansas City. One of, I think, 7 Urban Youth Academies around the country, and I believe the first one was started out in Compton, California. So they've got ones out in Cincinnati, New Orleans. So it's one of those.
L.A., Houston.
Yeah. So it's one of those things that bringing baseball back to the masses is something that Major League Baseball is trying to do. And with the Urban Youth Academies across the country, they're being able to do that.
So Medrano now stands on second base. Swing and a miss. Strikeout, first out of the inning.
I got to say, I'm surprised that the lights have not come on yet. You would think in a cloudy, overcast type day, we'd see the lights on at this point, but the umpire's not calling for the lights yet, so we'll see what happens. Also, your weather forecast, you were predicting rain as well, right?
There's been rain in the forecast. It's just a matter of timing on when the rain will arrive. Hopefully, it won't arrive until after dark, until after we have completed this game and have gone home for the inning, gone home for the evening.
Yeah, Kansas City's a weather town, to say the least. I had one guy, it snowed yesterday here in Kansas City. And, I think Kansas City's one of the only places you shovel your snow in the morning and you mow your lawn in the afternoon. And I literally had some neighbors that were mowing their lawn when I got home yesterday.
Absolutely. Oh, and yes. Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of communication down on the field tonight.
That ball is low. Ball 4. Runners on first and second.
And that's going to be an unofficial trip to the mound there. They want to discuss location and command. And this early in the ball game, you have to keep control and command of all of your pitches, and you don't want things to get too far out of hand. And that's what they're discussing out there on the mound right now.
And so now Cheyenne Dixon steps in with 2 aboard.
Just glancing at Dixon here, you know who he reminds me of?
Who's that?
Kirby Puckett. Getting more of a, she's looking like a Kirby. Just reminding me of the very steady hands, good, strong batting stance, locked in.
Love Kirby Puckett's smile. Runner on third, so now we got runners on the corners.
Very confident in the batter's box, too. And, confidence goes a long way in the box. You can't come up there looking defeated. You can't worry about what pitches are coming and am I scared. I love the way that she's locked in and focused.
I mean, especially when you've got a pitcher in Yvonne Ovalle who, is sizable on the mound. That ball fouled away. Dixon stays alive.
Now, you grew up in Texas,
yes.
And we know Texas is a football state. But what about softball and baseball? Did you have girls that played on the high school baseball teams in Texas?
No, because we had softball teams. Like
right.
in my district, in the Northeast Independent School District, we had softball teams. Granted, we didn't have it all 4 years that I was in high school, and the runner takes off for second base, so now we've got runners in scoring position. But by the time I graduated, we did have, every high school had a softball team. But, I mean, that's different. I mean, that's, suburban school districts versus, the urban school districts. And Dixon, unaware that the ball was dropped and she could have taken off for third, so strikeout, tag out, 2 outs now.
Cristo Ray in Midtown, Kansas City, right there on Linwood Avenue. A lot of history at that particular program, as is for the East Bears on the east side of Van Brunt Boulevard. It's really good to see baseball back in the city. There was a big void of baseball for so long, but now with great facilities and the opportunity to get out here and play, it's really good for these guys to be able to develop baseball skills.
I mean, it's a great resource to have, and the time, the effort, the energy that is being poured into, these student athletes, those who are, still trying to navigate a very different school year, just to learn the game of America's pastime, it's valuable.
And I've been in the classroom and, to see the kids finally get the opportunity to come back, and you see that camaraderie. They miss their classmates. They miss their teachers. They miss their day-to-day routines of going to school. Every kid will tell you, I hate going to school. I hate getting up and doing this and that. But the bottom line is you can really see it in their eyes once they've gotten back into the classroom, just to get back into that day-to-day grind, to see that we're getting better as a society and back to normal behavior, and sports is such a big part of that.
Oh, so now Cristo Ray threatening with the bases loaded. Reaches out and places one perfectly into shallow right. 1 run comes around to score. Runner on third sent home and slides in underneath the tag. Pumas put 2 on the board.
Great job of hitting there. You don't want to get too fancy in that situation, and any coach will tell you want to shorten up your swing. No need to be a hero and try to drive the ball out of this big ballpark. He does a great job of staying back, keeps his hands inside of the baseball, and drives the ball to right field. Excellent job of situational hitting, which is something that really, really needs to be worked on and practiced a lot. A lot of times people think you get up there, you just swing for the fence. That's not what you do. You wait for a pitch. If the pitch is outside, you stay back and you hit the inside of the ball, drive that ball to right field. Excellent job by the Pumas and some great situational hitting.
Torres swings and misses. That ball is outside. Torres having to hop out of the way to avoid being plunked by the pitch.
And I'm sure you mentioned earlier about this is not the first time that these two teams have seen each other. Obviously, familiarity, especially in baseball, is something that is quite common. And so these guys were fired up. When I saw the East Bears getting off that bus today, you talk about a team that was fired up. They were ready. They were fired and just ready to go.
The chopper back to the pitcher, who fires to third, fires to first for the third out. So limiting the damage to just 2 runs. East able to push 2 across. Or Cristo Ray able to push 2 across.
And back to how excited that team was, I can't recall the last time I saw a group of young men go out there and tell the coach, hey, warm us up. We're ready to go. Let's get out there. Hit us some ground balls. We're ready. And
That's what you call coachable.
Exactly. And those young men were out there with all types of energy and all types of fire, if you will, to get this game going. So it's been a fun ride so far to watch both of these teams get out here and compete so far. Like I said, 2 teams that are very familiar with one another, so it should be pretty interesting for the rest of this game.
Cristo Ray looking for their first win of the season, playing East very closely the first meeting, losing by 2 runs, and now after putting 2 across in that bottom half of the second inning, they're right back in this ball game.
And that's exactly where you want to be at this point. You never want to be too far out of the game, especially when you get a slow start. That first inning was a little bit rocky, and there was a lot of things going on in that first inning. But to their point, there was a lot of composure left in this ball club, and you can't lose your composure early in the game because you got a long way to play. 7 full innings here, and it's one of those things where you can't give up, and you definitely cannot give up early.
And even getting down 5 runs, there's a lot of baseball left to be played, and you're not going to get all 5 runs back instantly. So you don't have to swing it every pitch, because 1 home run doesn't get you back in this game. If you play small ball, put runners on, advance the runners, a sacrifice, a stolen base, and then you just get, a kind of a bloop single, if you will, that pushes 2 across. And now all of a sudden it's like the momentum switches, and then the belief changes, and everyone buys into what is going on.
And one of the best things that you can do is take advantage of the dimensions of the ballpark. The dimensions here are just the same as a professional baseball field. You're looking at 330 down each line, 400 to dead center field, maybe 40 in the power alleys or so. So, hey, these guys are doing a great job of just hitting the ball to the gaps and using your speed. Small ball can win just as many ball games. I used to tell people all the time, you can win more ball games with a bunt single than you can the big home run. If your team can bunt and move base runners around and keep the defense on their heels, then you got a severe advantage.
Sure, you see a manufactured run, you see an infield single, an overthrow to first, and then all of a sudden the hitter winds up on third base.
I remember a couple years ago I had an opportunity to ask Ned Yost how he felt about a big Royals win after they played small ball. I mean, basic stuff. Guy gets on, you bunt him over, hit and run, bam, you manufacture a run. And this is what these guys have to start getting back to here in learning the basics and the fundamentals of how to put runs on the scoreboard.
And we've seen, a perfectly executed hit and run that scores 2, and we've seen infield singles, we've seen bloop singles, we've seen hustle.
You can't coach hustle. I mean, it doesn't take talent to hustle.
Yeah.
And that's one of the main things. And speaking of hustle, one thing that kids, don't realize these days is one of the worst ways you can disrespect baseball, disrespect the game, disrespect your coaches, the fans, the umpires, is to walk to your position. I can't tell you how many times I've seen a guy walk from the dugout to first base, and I mean just coming out there. respect the game, gentlemen. Not to say that we've seen anybody in this particular game, but, you know, young kids coming up, and a lot of coaches have not had the opportunity to address that. Hustle on and off the field. It'll take you a long way.
That ball by Vega is smoked down the third base line, rolling all the way to the wall, and Vega is on his horse. A stand-up double for Arturo Vega.
Vega doing a great job of getting his hands out in front of that ball. And there's basically 3 points of contact when you're looking at a baseball. The front half of the plate, on the inner half, and then right over the middle, and then on the far side is where you get those hands in and take it to right field. He did a great job of recognizing the pitch on the inside before it got too deep into the batter's box and turning on that one and hitting a shot to left field for that stand-up double.
And you talked about playing into space, and he was able to perfectly place that and was able to get to second without having to slide.
Just a good piece of hitting there, and very aggressively being able to take that ball to left field.
So now that brings us back to the top of the order in LaDavion West. West has a single and a strikeout so far in this game. Swing and a miss on strike 3. The ball was dropped. Now there's a rundown. Lead runner is tagged out. Miscommunication there, some confusion as West struck out. The ball was dropped. First base was open, so West was on his way to first. The throw to first was dropped, and so West thought that he was out, didn't realize it. Vega was staying on second base, watching the play develop, and then you couldn't have 2 runners on the same base.
Well, Vega there needs to do a better job of reading that pitch in the dirt. Once that pitch is, you see that that's a bad pitch, you have to get a great secondary in order to be moving toward third base. So Vega, there's no reason that Vega should have been at second base in the first place. He should have been getting a good read and getting that good secondary, and he could have gotten to third base easily. And with a poor throw to first base, he possibly could have scored.
So now West is on third. Chris Thornton with a big cut, but comes up empty. The ball is low and outside. That one also in the dirt. 3 balls, 1 strike. That one grazes the corner. So now the count is full.
One other thing that we have to take note of is how enthusiastic the fans are. This is great for these guys to come out here and get a chance to watch the players and support their team.
And that's a strikeout as Thornton goes down swinging. Five strikeouts now for Cristo Rey pitcher Torres. The ball was low. Ball fights that one off the hands. One ball, one strike for Jorge Gonzalez. Gonzalez has already driven in 2 runs in this contest. Hops back. Big swing and a miss. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Fouls that one back. Hitting off the roof of the Urban Youth Academy building. That one gets laced. Just foul.
That's another example of being too far out front. Just a little bit of patience. Again, we talked about the 3 different placements of where the baseball should be when you make contact. And you always hear coaches, especially those old school coaches, let the ball travel. Let the ball get deeper. That's one of those things where you don't want to it's a fine line between being out front and hitting that ball in the perfect spot. He was just a hair off, just a little bit too quick.
Is that more on hip rotation or hand speed? Did his hands get out in front?
His hands got out a little bit front, but you know what? It's okay when your hips rotate, but it's just a matter of timing. And truthfully, your hips should lead a little bit before your hands go through. So if you get your hips out just a little bit sooner and your hands follow, then that's where you're going to hit more balls in fair territory.
That pitch gets in the dirt, but not far enough away to score West. That ball way off the plate. Ball 4, so now we have runners on the corner for East and 2 away. That brings up the East pitcher and cleanup hitter, Ivan Ovalle.
Something about a pitcher that bats cleanup. I like that. I love a pitcher that can do that. And so many times we make fun of the pitcher saying he's not an athlete. Oh, come on, these guys are doing it.
And a runner takes off for second with no throw. So now we got runners in scoring position. Do you take the chance? I mean, Torres has 5 strikeouts. Do you have first base available? Do you put him on?
I do put him on. That way, you've got your cleanup guy up, your biggest run producer. You've got a base wide open. If you put him on, you've got the guy in the 5 hole, and now you've got a force at any base. There's no way that I would pitch to him. And so many times, Kenitra, at this level, people forget what the art of pitching is. People say, throw strikes, throw strikes. In this situation, you don't throw a ball right over the middle of the plate, and you give a guy that's your cleanup hitter an opportunity to drive in runs. You paint that corner. You're up, you're low, you're in, you're out.
And you trust your defense.
And you trust your defense. You're not trying to get it. You're trying to get this guy to hit a ground ball.
That ball hops away, gets back to the fence. The runners advance. West comes home to score. And now the overthrow back to the pitcher as the bases are now cleared as the Bears score 2 more on errant throws by the Pumas.
And the one thing that you have to do as a middle infielder, your instincts always have to be geared toward that ball coming back to the pitcher. You have to be backing up every throw that comes back toward the pitcher, and we saw an example of that. This is why these missed opportunities keep coming back to haunt them.
And now Ovalle does end up on first unintentionally, being down in the count. No balls, 2 strikes. Patiently took 4 straight balls, and he winds up on first anyway. But now he's the only runner on for East.
It sounds like Perez will get an opportunity to come in and run for the pitcher. You know, they brought this thing. They don't have this in professional baseball, but the courtesy runner. If you're unfamiliar with the courtesy runner, they'll bring in someone to run for the pitcher or the catcher, which kind of speeds up the game. It gives them an opportunity to get out there and catch their breath and get their glove on, take their helmet off, and all that type of stuff. So the idea for it is to get the catcher or the pitcher an opportunity to be dressed and ready for the next inning. So a lot of times I know parents will get confused on the courtesy runner, think their kid is coming out of the game. That's not the case. They're just giving him an opportunity to get ready for the next inning.
And they could have, you know, given him a breather. I mean, made him stand in there and take 6 pitches. Could have just put him on.
You could have, yeah.
But you make him work a little bit more, knowing that he has to return in the bottom half of the inning to get back on the mound, as now Perez takes second base without a throw.
So what do you like? Let me ask you your opinion. Do you like the pitcher having to throw the 4 pitches, or do you like it when you just say, hey, just put him on?
Put him on.
Yeah, I agree.
Just for the sake of, hey, speed up the game. Chops one back off the hands. Misplayed defense, miscommunication by Cristo Ray. That puts J.P. Marshall on first. So you got Perez on second, Marshall on first.
Who's on first?
What's on second? No.
Exactly. I don't know.
So now we got Mario Puente coming up. He struck out in the second inning.
You know, I just had a revelation and a thought. I don't know what it is, but I don't know how many games we've done. We started broadcasting football games. We went over into basketball season. Winding down the year here with baseball. We haven't done a lot of games together. We've been at every game at the same time for the most part. I don't think that we haven't physically been, but we've never had the opportunity to actually sit here on the mic and talk.
One football game.
I don't even remember that.
I think it was one football game. But yeah, that's why we say utility. I mean, because you are go gadget arms. You are everywhere. I mean, we clone D Jackson and, you know, making all of this possible.
What was that movie, Multiplicity?
Oh, yes.
Was that Michael Keaton?
Michael Keaton. Yeah. Batman.
Random facts.
Although my favorite Michael Keaton movie,
Mr. Mom.
You got it.
You know why I knew that? Because we're the same age.
I love Mr. Mom. Kenny and Alex and the Whoopie.
Terry Garr.
Caroline.
Keaton.
Working executive.
Jillian to my right is like, these guys are super old. They're old. They're like older than my parents. We're talking about Mr. Mom. I remember going to see Mr. Mom at the movies at Bannister Square. Now that goes to show you how far back that was. Bannister Square. Not Bannister Mall, but Square.
That ball's inside.
I'd like to welcome in all of our viewers as you watch this game live. Kenitra Pulliams, D. Jackson here. And Jillian Johnson keeping score for us. Thank you so much, Jillian. You should see Jillian's headband. I mean, this headband is money.
But see, we've been talking with Jillian.
Okay.
And Saturday is her big day. She's got a game coming up.
Okay.
We've nicknamed Jillian G-Force because she has this secret weapon, her speed. So, G-Force.
Okay.
Yep.
I really wish you guys could see the headband. It's very Jimi Hendrix-esque.
It is.
It's very artistic. I like that. Yeah, sure thing.
So we get a balk called. That brings in another runner. So after getting 2 runs back in the bottom of the second, Cristo Rey now surrenders 3 runs here in the top of the third. Routine grounder to first. That's put out 3 unassisted, but not before the Bears score 3 in the third. They now lead this one 8-2. Bottom of the third inning here at the Kansas City Urban Youth Academy. Luis Ortiz Segura. That ball is high and outside. Chopper down to first. And that's what you talk about, the hustle play. Segura's speed challenged the first baseman to try and make a play, and his timing was off, couldn't field it cleanly.
I loved everything about Segura's at-bat. Loved his stance. I loved his approach. Just hit the ball on the ground and beat the runner to first base, or beat the fielder to first base, I should say. And I wouldn't be surprised to see him take off on the first or second pitch here.
Thornton trying to hold him on, or Garrett trying to hold him on. And there, as you said, taking off for second.
And again, we talk about great situational hitting. If I'm at the plate right now with no outs, I'm looking for a ball that I can drive to second base or to right field. As Segura takes off again, and he'll get to third easily. But now my situation doesn't necessarily change. I'm looking for something to drive. Either I can get something in the air or I can hit the ball to right field. Anytime you talk about ground ball right side is what we used to say. Try to get a ground ball to the right side to get that runner in. And he's at second base, so.
He retreats back to second as we have baseball under the lights. Segura takes off for third, this time cleanly without a throw.
So now situational hitting, you want to get something that you can drive either to the outfield or hit the ball to second base or to right field.
Derek Cubas late on the swing. 2 balls, 2 strikes here. This time he sends it to short, takes the hop, gets past the shortstop. Driving in Segura.
That's one thing about playing on this artificial surface. The ball will bounce, but you don't necessarily get bad hops. And, you know, back in the day when this was Parade Park, you never knew what type of hops you were going to get because, you know, it was ground, mud, and when you're playing on the natural surface, you're going to get all types of clumps, and the fields had to be dragged. I can tell you firsthand, I remember my junior year, 1993. We had the great floods here. We only got onto the baseball field one time during the entire season. We practiced one time before district started, and that was amazing. We played every game out in the outfield grass. We come out and we had to measure it all off, and that was for every single game that we played. We only got an opportunity to play on a dirt, legitimate field one time, and that was not in a regulation game. It was for practice. Practice.
Not a game.
Again, the facilities here are absolutely phenomenal. So playing on this turf, you have to be aware of the bounce, especially in the outfield. You don't want to overcharge a ball because it'll hit that ground and it'll just go right over your head if you're not careful. So you have to be able to play the grass.
And that's what the coaches were saying during, you know, practice, you know, before as teams were warming up. And that throw at home, not in time to get Cubas. But that's what the coaches were saying, that, you know, your first step, I'm not saying play deep, but you can make your first step back because you can always charge forward. It's hard to start charging in and then realize that ball's carrying over your head, and then you have to turn around and chase.
That first step is always back. You always want to take that initial step back, or you just want to. You never want to make your first step in. Either you freeze or you go back, but preferably you go back.
Pina Medrano gets on with his second base on balls. Timeout is called as there is a meeting with the pitcher. Runner takes a lead off first. Hit and run was in play. Goes down as a strike, but the runner ends up on second. That pitch was outside.
And it looks like he may be running out of gas a little bit. I don't know what his pitch count is, but you're not seeing the same bite on his fastball that you saw in the earlier innings, and it just looks like he's just trying to push through this inning.
Looks back the runner.
Did we shout out Maria Manti out in center field? Maria Manti on our center field camera. Doing a stand-up job out in center field.
That's it, goes down as a strikeout.
That's Terry Brown giving you the pictures from down below. I think it's always important to acknowledge your crew. You know, the people who come out and they're not being paid $100 million like Kaditra, but they're out here getting the job done.
In the elements. We're nice.
Right.
We're here sheltered by up here in the press box, you know, to where it blocks the wind and, you know, and if there's any precipitation that should start falling, we're protected. We want to thank our crew that is out there bundled up. You know, if a gust of wind comes through, if the wind changes directions, they're reliable like the U.S. Post Office.
Well, there you go. Through what, rain, sleet, snow?
Dark of night.
Dark of night. Yeah, I couldn't remember what it was. I love the energy here. I think the crowd is really good. They've been into the game the entire time.
Three balls, no strikes. That ball goes in the dirt. Another Puma run comes in to score under the tag as Medrano pushes one across as the Pumas getting back the runs that they surrendered in the top half of the third. Runner, take your base. That first pitch is across for a strike. One ball, one strike for Cheyenne Dixon. Pitcher wheels around, no throw.
It's weird that, you know, I'm not seeing anybody in either bullpen warming up. It just kind of seems like, okay, we're going to go with these guys and get the maximum. I believe that there are limitations on the pitches that you can throw in high school baseball.
That's I thought as well.
And not only per game, I think it may be per week, how many pitches you can throw. So
to protect the arms that are still developing.
Exactly. So that may be one of the reasons. Maybe there's no one available.
That's one way to erase a threat.
So if you missed it, the runner thrown out at third base. So nobody on. Oh, wow, that was a close one. That called ball 4.
So after Dixon struck out in her last appearance, she now winds up on first. And Dixon scampers down to second, gets in under the tag.
You know, so many people think that stealing bases is based upon your speed,
Oh,
but that is
no.
such a myth. You saw an excellent job of Dixon, who got a great jump. When you read the pitcher and you know what the catcher has, you can get a great jump off the pitcher and steal a base easily. And, you know, kudos to her for getting an excellent jump and getting underneath the tag.
You get a jump, you got to, you know, depending on the, you know, the lead off first, and then the communication between all of the infielders about what's going to happen.
And Dixon has a very high baseball IQ. If you watch the way she's reading the runner, or reading the pitcher, excuse me, and her secondary, she's doing an excellent job of that. Watch her out on second base. See how she gets that secondary and then is forcing the possibility of a throw by the catcher. That's great baseball IQ, great baseball wit.
And as you were mentioning, you know, the East pitcher Ovalle, you know, we've seen the velocity drop, the concentration has waned some, and he's really laboring here in the third inning.
This is one of those times, even though it's the third inning, you've thrown a lot of pitches, there's been a lot of runs scored in this ball game. This is where you got to dig deep. You know, you hear coaches talk about that all the time. You got to find that extra gear, and that's where you want that hoss. You want to have that guy on the mound that's just going to say, okay, guys, hop on my back. I'm going to get us out of this inning, and let's just keep on pushing.
Jacob Ruiz swings at a ball way outside of the zone. That ball gets by the catcher. That runner, Dixon, gets caught in a rundown. She's tagged out. And that will be the third out of the inning. But the Pumas get right back in this one with 3 more runs. Top of the 4th inning now.
As we are live, you know, I like to make things as interactive as possible. What I should have been doing is we should have been tweeting and be able to talk to people while we do the game. But I would like to issue out a challenge to anyone that's watching or listening or whomever you may be. Leave a comment. Let us know what we can do better to make the broadcast that much more exciting for you. If you like it, you don't like it, let us know. We are We got thick skin. I think we can take it. I think we've
Constructive criticism.
Yes, we've been criticized by some of the best out
Because,
there.
I mean, that's the thing. We're here to serve the audience.
Exactly.
And so, whatever pointers
And
can be offered.
This is the first year that we've done complete broadcast, and this is only our second baseball game that we've done. So we're working it out. We're trying to get it to go as we continue to go each and every week.
The ball inside, ball 4. That puts Garrett upon base. So Garrett has been hit by a pitch twice, and now he's on again via a walk. And Garrett takes off for second. And he will scamper to third after no one backs it up. And he's still running, forcing the issue. Misses home initially.
Whole lot of action in that one. I'm very surprised that he didn't slide coming into home. And a lot of times sliding serves different purposes. And, when you've got to play that close, you got to get down, you got to get dirty, and you have to protect yourself. And that's one of the things that they teach you all the time. You've got to be able to protect yourself going into home plate.
And all of that activity started with something you said you can't really coach, and that's hustle. He forced the issue by stealing second base, and then the Pumas defense was a little lackadaisical in communicating and getting the ball in and backing one another up. And the ball just kind of got into no man's land, and he just kept running.
And I was very interested to see what type of jumps that the Bears would get with a new pitcher coming in, especially with him being left-handed. We didn't see a big lead, but he didn't need a big lead.
Right.
He just went in motion, and sometimes you had to put that pressure on the defense to make a play.
A little bloop single there. And now we have some interesting activity. Getting a little too greedy, a little too aggressive. But heads up defense there by the Pumas this time on defensively. By getting the ball back into the infield.
Now, we've been giving life lessons throughout the ball game. That's when too much hustle can come back to hurt you right there. You got to be able to pick up your coach. When you're turning first base there, you're taught to pick up that third base coach, and that third base coach is going to tell you to stay or to go. So on that particular one, if you're a great base runner, you're looking to see where that ball is behind you by picking up that third base coach. That's why it's so important to find out. Once you hit that turn and you've committed to second base, you got to take that peek over there, and if the man is telling you to stop, you got to stay on second base.
And you got to run with intention. It can't be like, well, I'm just going to jog it into third. Like, if you got to, go down blazing.
Well, I think that sometimes the dimensions of this field, we talked about the dimensions earlier in the game, but sometimes the dimensions can come back to bite you because you feel as though this is an open pasture and that there's so much room and so much grazing room. And, the right fielder, I believe that's Dixon out there, I think she lost it in the lights, just didn't get a chance to see the ball off the bat and it was frozen. And so you pick that up as a runner. You read the defense, and when the play is right there in front of you, you see that they're nowhere near. So you got to hustle. You're thinking second base right out of the box.
Swing and a miss for Perez. Up to now we've seen Perez as the designated player or designated runner for Ovalle. Now Perez at the plate. Perez on first base now.
Fans still into this ball game. The runner on first base, not much of a lead, but that ball gets passed and runner will advance to second base easily.
Ball rolls back to the fence.
Now, something else to take into consideration when you've got a game that's high scoring like this and you've got pitchers that are starting to run out of gas is the catchers. You know, these catchers' knees are starting to get a little buckled as well. And, you know, when it's cold outside like it is right now or getting chilly, as the lights start to come on, those catchers start to get a little stiff. So you're going to see more and more pass balls. And as the games get more tight, so do the catchers. I mean, you got to loosen up as well and make sure you keep that ball in front of you to keep those runners from advancing.
And then when you have active base runners who, you know, as we've seen, have the propensity to steal bases, it's a lot that you're putting on the catcher to not only field the pitch cleanly, but to be aware enough of where to throw the ball to try and catch an opportunistic runner.
Backdoor curveball there that kind of dropped in the outside edge for a strike. Great pitch there. You see lefties so many times get really crafty. And you always have to have that go-to pitch that when you need a strike, you can dig deep and find it.
There's another ball in the dirt. Leads to the runner on third. It's in there for a call, third strike.
Great pitch selection there and great command of his off-speed pitches. And he's able to throw those for a strike. So, again, anytime you need to go into your pocket and get a strike, that's what a good left-handed pitcher can do. He can just paint the corners, go up, go down, but not necessarily throw meat pitches. You don't want pitchers throwing balls, darts straight over the plate. You know, it's kind of like that scene in the Karate Kid. He says, karate to the left, karate to the right, you know, but you go straight down the middle, you get squashed like a grape. It's the same thing. You want to go left, right, not down the middle.
And then if you could finesse the corners, then you get the batter to kind of maybe chase something, take some chances, swinging at something that normally wouldn't swing at.
I tell you, one of the best at painting the corners, Tom Glavine. Glavine was a guy that could paint the corners, go to the blacks of either side of the plate, and make something happen.
Tommy Glavine. See, that's where you could find me in high school. You know, not out socializing, whatever. I'd be in my room watching Atlanta Braves baseball.
You know, when we were growing up, looking back at it now, this is crazy, but we would look forward to the Braves and the Cubs.
Braves and the Cubs and the Mets.
Braves and the Cubs. Because, here, the Superstation or whatever in
Yes.
WGN were right next to each other. So
Yes.
we just go back and forth. We listen to Harry Carey, and then we listen to Skip. And then, we'd see which one had the better call. Of course.
My God. That would, because that's the thing is like my grandmother had cable before we did. And the whole reason I started as a baseball fan is when Sean Dunston broke the ring finger on his throwing hand. And because of Superstation, WGN, we had that, and I would sing with Harry Carey in the seventh inning, and then, Leon Durham.
Oh, yeah, number 20.
Andre Dawson. I started, and then, of course, became a Mets fan with Darryl Strawberry and Doc Gooden.
Gary Carter, Keith Hernandez.
Hojo.
Oh, man, Howard Johnson. I thought Howard Johnson was the man back then.
Yeah, and then
Ray Knight.
And then I became a Braves fan. That ball lands in to score a run. And then hustle play, beating the throw. And that single will lead to the runner on third base. And that's what you call hustling on the base paths.
And taking advantage of mental mistakes. We saw Cristo Rey give up on the play. The ball just gets past the catcher, and he just kind of walks
It's a live ball.
It's a live ball, and you cannot make those types of mistakes. I'm thinking that the Pumas are really starting to struggle with the lights here because we've seen two outfielders in the same inning not be able to pick up that ball, just staying flat-footed. So I'm assuming that they're having trouble picking up that ball off the bat here at the Urban Youth Academy.
I mean, it doesn't look like there's really shadows. But, you know, we're right here at twilight, so I can't speak for, you know, especially the outfielders who can't really, you know, seeing the ball off. And, I mean, and it might just be from the angle of which they're standing, they may be obstructed of the hitter. So seeing the ball come off the bat initially affects the way that they make a play, that initial step. So Ivan Ovalle now back in with the runs that East has been able to score. Do you send Ivan Ovalle back to the mound now? He kind of struggled there in the bottom of the third. Now East was able to get those runs back.
Well, there's nothing like a little cushion.
So you have a run down now at third. That pitch was high from the third baseman.
A great play that almost was, you know, comebacker to the pitcher. And the thing that you have to do, and he did a great job of this, is you run at that lead runner. You don't come to home, you don't commit, you run directly at the base runner to make him commit. And if you can, you want to always send him back to the base in which he came from. So you want to have a little cutoff angle, but you want to run right at him.
That one skips by the catcher. And now Ovalle is standing on third.
Yeah, Gonzalez has, as we talked about how it gets colder and you start to get stiffer, and as the game continues to move on, we're seeing him just get a little more stiff and a little more stiff. And, you know, you can't knock it because, hey, we're not down there. We're not catching right now. We're not having to control this pitching staff in the elements. So it can be very difficult. That's Rios, Jacob Rios doing that. So Rios trying to turn it around here and get the job done.
And then you have to also work in tandem with the pitcher. You know, if you're set up in one location, but the pitch doesn't meet the glove where you're asking the catcher to make some adjustments in his positioning. As you see that one, you know, kind of low and kind of skips into the catcher. So you're making him move more than maybe he wants to.
And the other thing is Rios is trying to backhand balls that are low and in the dirt where you've got to open that glove up the other way.
That one, throw to first in time, run before the run scores. But East retakes or extends the lead after Cristo Rey had cut into it.
11-5 here from downtown Kansas City. Two teams getting their baseball on here. And, you know, I always think of it like this. It's such a privilege for these guys to be able to come out here and play baseball and play under the lights here. There's no, you know, there's nothing that says, hey, I got to be out here. This is not their job. You know, this is something that they look forward to. They go to school, they work, they get their studies done, they go to practice, they stay eligible, they get to come out here and have fun. So even though we want to teach competitiveness, we also have so many life lessons learned just by coming out here and having a great time with your buddies and playing baseball here in high school baseball.
And Ovalle does indeed go back to the mound here in the bottom of the fourth as East puts up back-to-back innings of crooked numbers on the scoreboard. Little heart-to-heart talk for the Pumas as they, bring everyone together before they take their turn at the plate. That first pitch from Ovalle was a ball. Second pitch and the ball. And the runner is safe. Hustling to first on the infield single by Marcos Torres.
Yeah, a little bit of a rushed play over there by the third baseman. He had plenty of time to set his feet and just gets another opportunity here.
Thornton decides to go take the lead runner, fires into second.
And great presence of mind to get the lead runner. Did a great job of that. Want to see him turn that glove over, though. He backhanded a ball that was right between his legs. You don't want to do that. You want to flip that glove over, open that glove up. Nice, smooth hands, but he did a great job of footwork to get that ball over to second base to get the force out.
Solid single to center field. Runner goes first to third. And now shortstop decides to eat it instead of making a throw to first, catching the runner kind of in no man's land between first and second.
That's a play by design, though. A great piece of hitting by Segura. And I said that earlier when Segura beat that ball out at first base. Segura's game is on point tonight. A great job of lacing that ball to left field and hustling out of the box. He made a great hard turn, and that's what you want to do. You want to go halfway out there and try to force a throw. So if you force that throw and you got that man on third base, a lot of times you can actually sacrifice yourself in order to get the run in that situation.
So you got runners in scoring position for the Pumas. Ball is fouled out of. Oh, catcher tried to make a play at the net. Just couldn't quite squeeze that.
Yeah, it's really difficult when that ball is straight back like there for the catcher to come out of his squatting position, and you want to turn your back to the infield and have that ball rotation come back to you. It's very difficult to kind of find that ball sometimes.
Gonzalez got a glove on it but could not squeeze it.
And the one thing I do like about Gonzalez is I'm really impressed with the way he frames pitches. There's been several balls to the outside, right outside of the black, and he does a great job of framing and trying to steal those pitches for his pitcher.
That pitch is outside. Ball 4. That loads the bases. O'Valley now in trouble. Can he pitch himself out of a jam?
Sacks full of Pumas.
As Daniel Pena Medrano steps in, he's reached base twice already, courtesy of a walk.
There you get a look at the defensive alignment. That one just missed. That was a pretty good pitch. Again, you know, the object of the game is not to throw the ball right down Main Street. You want guys to chase balls outside of the strike zone.
Right down Paseo. Walks in a run. There was nowhere to put him. And we might have a pitching change. Instead, just talk with the pitcher to settle him down.
Surprised to see them talking outside the lines. Usually those types of conferences are reserved for on-the-mound visits, but there will be a change regardless.
So Thornton now coming in to pitch.
And is Thornton going to be allowed to pitch in that jacket? I don't know what it is, but there's something about I've never seen a pitcher be able to pitch in a jacket.
Ivan Ovalle will now, they'll swap places essentially. He'll take third base. Thornton has completed his warm-up tosses. And now, with the bases loaded, single drives in 2 runs for the Pumas. So now the Pumas have runners on the corners. That pitch is low. Swing and a miss. That throws inside. Ball flies over the batter's head. 3 balls and a strike. Bases loaded once again for Cristo Ray. Timeout called. Thornton now coming out of the jacket, as Dee was wondering about. Maybe he was interfering with his mechanics and his delivery. Thornton's first pitch after removing his jacket.
Did he be allowed to wear a jacket? I don't know how he was able to do that.
And therefore a strike. I mean, maybe put the jacket on underneath the jersey. Maybe he was doing it for warmth purposes, as we see many of his teammates with the long sleeve T-shirts underneath their jerseys. His was on top. Really hadn't affected him at the plate, but on the mound is different stories. Pumas have already pushed 2 across in this inning. And now with bases loaded for Cheyenne Dixon. Looks at the ball in the dirt.
Again, I love Dixon's approach. Very confident, very smooth. You're looking up here, this is a clutch situation. You've got bases loaded. You got a pitcher that's struggling to find the zone. She's very confident, very smooth in her approach.
And bloops a single to left, drives in 1. Another runner coming around from third. Cheyenne Dixon drives in 2 more with a single.
And again, not getting outside of yourself is something that hitters are always told. You know, you come out here, you don't try to do too much. She got a ball that she was able to square up, laced it over the shortstop's head, drives in a couple of runs with an excellent approach of just staying calm and staying within herself and not trying to do too much in that situation.
That pitch is off the plate.
Great stop there by the catcher. And so many times a catcher will want to kind of swat at that backhanded. Great job of actually dropping down and moving his feet to block the ball.
Swing comes up empty. Wild pitch, runner ends up on third. So we got runners at the corners for the Pumas. 3 balls, 1 strike is the count. That's in there for a strike. So now the count is full. Caught looking. Second out of the inning.
So great job by Thornton to come in and stop the bleeding here. But one thing that I really want to focus on is the second baseman and the shortstop. You've got runners on the corners here in a tight ball game, and Cristo Rey is starting to threaten a little bit. That second baseman and that shortstop have to cut off that throw from the catcher to the pitcher. There's a possibility of an errant throw that could get by that pitcher, and you want to have your shortstop, your second baseman on that, backing up that pitch every time to keep that runner at third base.
That's a wild pitch. Runner moves up to second.
Let's take a look at that defensive alignment here. Watch where the second baseman and the shortstop are. After every pitch, the catcher's going to throw the ball back to the pitcher, but they need to be in between the pitcher and second base to back up that throw to keep that runner at third base.
What do you think of Torres' batting stance? Very, very erect and upright.
I'm trying to think what it reminds me of. It's very 1980s, kind of like the twirly bird.
It's a lot of wiggle in the bat. Is it Darryl Strawberry?
I can't think. It's either Darryl Strawberry or a right-handed Fred McGriff.
Oh. Foul tip.
The little touch of Gary Sheffield.
Mmm.
We're taking you down memory lane. Andre Thornton. I like it, though. It's very retro.
I was listening to a podcast. Heard a great story, Gary Sheffield and Will Packer, the movie producer and content creator. And, they're both from St. Pete, as we have injury time out here on the field. And so huge Tampa Bay Bucks fans. And so they bought a suite as soon as it became available. And so they would go to games, all season long. And then, of course, when Super Bowl comes around, NFL takes over all the suites. So the suites that you've been attending all the home games, and then comes Super Bowl time, that's not yours anymore.
Sheffield, one of those gentlemen of the game. So many stories of him as he would take younger players under his wing, and it would buy a lot of those players when they got to the big leagues their first suit. People forget that, on travel day, and we've both traveled on charters with the Royals and things. You have to be dressed. You got to come with your suit or your sport coat. A lot of those guys, especially when you're called up at the last minute, you don't have time to pack something good. So, Sheffield was one of those guys that would dig deep down in his pocket and buy a lot of those guys their first suit when they made it to the big leagues.
So now, bases again full of Pumas as Thornton walks Torres.
And this is where you're going to have to buckle down. As they say, ducks on the pond here for Crystal Ray. And the pressure is more so on East right now than it is Crystal Ray. If you put the ball in play, you got to put the defense under the pressure to make a play. And the pitcher's under pressure to throw strikes as well.
And it's Thornton's been kind of all over the place with his pitch location. Hasn't really quite found his groove. But there's a lot to be focused on and concerned with when you have bases have been full, seems like the entire inning. That pitch gets away.
I'm a little surprised that people aren't breaking down the line a little bit harder, but hey, it is what it is. Protecting that that count.
Cristo Ray hitter thought that was ball 4. Instead, it's in there for a strike.
I don't know. It looked like 2 RBIs to me.
Foul tip.
Just a little bit of a lunge there. Getting a little too out front. You want to keep his weight back, especially in this type of situation. You know, you're lunging at balls. You want to just stay back and drive the ball right back up the middle.
Swings at a ball at his chest for strike 3. And so the Pumas leave the bases loaded, but they also push 4 runs across. And the Pumas clawing back into this one.
You got to give Thornton credit, though, for it being able to buckle down there. Ducks on the pond, bases loaded there. He was able to get himself out of a jam. And, you know, he made some quality pitches there and got guys to chase balls out of the strike zone, and that is the key in that situation. But if you're the batter, if I'm Coach Barker, I'm telling these guys, stay within yourself. Put the pressure on the defense to make a play. And I see guys walking out on the field as we speak. That is my pet peeve. Excusez-moi. I just had to take a break from that. 11-9 right now is the score. East holding on to a 2-run lead and getting out of a little bit of a jam there. So hats off to Cristo Ray for some great clutch hitting to get themselves back in the ball game.
Yeah, East pushing across 4 in the first. And so this time Cristo Ray matches that 4 spot with 4 in the 4th. Cristo Ray, their only empty inning was in the first when they came up with no runs. But since then, everything has been crooked numbers. A 2 spot, put 3 runs across in the 3rd. So, I mean, it kind of fits. 2 runs in the 2nd, 3 runs in the 3rd, 4 runs in the 4th. But still trailing by 2 runs, as East has been able to score at least 1 run in every frame. Ball 1. as Mario Puente leads things off here in the 5th. Puente hops back. 3 balls, no strikes.
So 4 straight pitches. Segura looks like he's running out of gas there. Looks like he's favoring that left arm, that left shoulder a bit, stretching it out. As the temperatures start to drop out here, as again, the muscles starting to get a little tense.
That pitch is outside as Puente scampers down to second base.
Uncontested. Kudos to the coaching staffs for both of these teams, because when you get ball games like this, they're close ball games, but you can see throughout the course of the game, the coaches are steadily having to teach. And you're teaching the fundamentals of the game and trying to win a ball game at the same time. So many times, especially when you get in the more advanced levels of strategy and things like that, you know, the game plan is in and you go out and you just operate. You just go out and execute. But at this level right here, you know, these coaches have the opportunity and to mold these young ball players, and that's what they have to do. They're counseling them, they're teaching them, they're showing them the fundamentals throughout the course of the game, and they're doing a great job of that as well.
And there's lots of different scenarios and situations that they're having to teach and point out, like on the fly. Okay, now, hey, you had a runner on first, runner stole second, so now, you know, where defensive alignment, where do you put your defense on the, or if you're East, you're patient, you have the lead, don't swing at anything silly, take your base and allow your teammates to pick you up and put you over.
And that's going to cause a visit to the mound, his second consecutive walk here. Looks like we might have a pitching change. Segura gets the pat on the back and heads out to center field.
As Daniel Pena Medrano stumbles, you know, coming off the rubber.
It's an adjustment. You know, you've got to go out there, and when you've had a guy who might not be the same height or size as you or have the same foot size, you know, he's going to make his own marks out there on the mound, and so you've got to get comfortable and find your own groove.
Dig in, find your foot placement. But it's a lot different, you know, when you have the synthetic surface. It's a lot more uniform. As we approach 9 o'clock here on a school night, hope everyone has their homework done.
I know I don't have mine done.
Lesson plans.
I tell you, we're back in the building now up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'm still the last one to get into the classroom. I know. Students divided up into A and B days. They'll all be back in class on the 3rd of May. I believe that's the game plan. Oh, well, I'm being told by the high school student in the room that I might be premature on that. So we'll see. They're making the rounds, making their way.
Isn't that the first two words of is it cheers?
Making their way in the world today.
Takes everything you got.
So we've had a Cheers reference tonight. We've had a Mr. Mom reference. We've had a Shawan Dunston reference.
Babes of the 80s.
You know, how far back can we take this thing?
Hey, we did, as we were setting up, we did have the elements of earth, wind, and fire.
That's right, reasons.
In case, if anyone happened to catch the verses of the Isley Brothers.
Which I did not see, and my mom is still talking about that.
It was entertaining.
She's like, I can't believe you didn't watch it. I'm like, well, I've been running around, haven't had a chance.
So now we have runners in scoring position for East. Reaches out, swings away, and just fouled.
Now, I don't believe in payola by any means. But if anybody knows of a pizza place, I'm just telling you, I'm at Urban Youth Academy right now, and, some pepperoni and, well, actually, no, not pepperoni, but
cheese?
No, some pineapple.
Veggie?
Pineapple and mushrooms.
Cheese?
I'll take cheese. Okay, all right, let me ask you, cheese, are you a deep crust person or thin crust?
I'm a hand-tossed.
Hand-tossed? Okay, so you're right in the middle.
I'm right in the middle. Okay. Like, not too much dough to where you just fill up on it, Just a nice ratio of bread to toppings to sauce.
Jillian, how about you? Are you what type of crust are you? Any type of crust. So any kind of pizza is good for you. What about cold pizza? You guys eat cold pizza?
Don't do cold. No.
I don't do cold pizza either. I don't see how people can eat cold pizza. So you like cold pizza? Oh, wow.
I just throw it in the toaster oven. No, because in the microwave, then the bread gets, like, chewy.
Wow.
See,
so put a cup of water in the microwave with your pizza. One of your parents is a chef, right? So you live with the chef, so she knows.
Hey.
Put a cup of water. I never heard of that. But it kind of makes sense.
But you would think it would put the moisture in the microwave. Because at night I sleep with the humidifier to put some moisture in in the air.
Oh boy, we are getting. Hey, pizza is good regardless.
So can you tell we're hungry?
If anybody's around a pizza place, hey, we're at the Urban Youth Academy. Just saying, Sarah Wilson. Okay.
Because it's I-70.
Yes, if you don't know where the Urban Youth Academy is, it is down the street from my alma mater, Lincoln College Prep. The old Parade Park. Everyone is familiar with Parade Park. It is now Urban Youth Academy at the Parade, I believe is what it's officially called. 18th and Vine District, historic Kansas City. Bases loaded, full of Bears. Bears on the base as we've been hibernating for a few minutes. Way out front of that swing. Again, another example of letting the ball travel. That ball on the outer half of the plate, and he's swinging way too early. You got to let that ball get deeper, hit the inside of the ball, hit a shot to right field, hit that gap, and turn on the horses.
Arturo Vega, with the bases loaded, makes contact. They come home with it in time to get the lead runner.
A situation right there. Unfortunately, the catcher trying to put a tag down, totally unnecessary to put that tag down, force out at the plate. And that way, by him doing that, by sacrificing and trying to put that tag down unnecessarily, he missed an opportunity to get the double play at first base. Foot on the plate, turn and throw to first base. You get 2 outs of the inning, and you guys are out of it. Now you still got bases loaded because of another mental mistake right there by the catcher.
Brings us back to the top of the order, LaDavion West. Now donning the jacket, pitches outside, and we have a run scores on the wild pitch. Hustling around, 2 runs score. As View also comes around from second to score.
So 2 more runs scoring on the pass ball, and, you know, they say catching is one of those things that you have to want to do and you have to love it. And so many things can happen. You got to have a great backstop back there, especially when the game is this close and this tight.
Bears now with 13 runs. Another pitch to the backstop puts the runner on third.
Payne is struggling with his command here, just not being able to find the plate.
As now we have a discussion.
I think the umpires are saying they like deep dish as opposed to hand toss.
Or are they saying toppings? Are they meat lovers?
Did we talk about? We didn't discuss toppings, did we?
We kind of.
You said cheese.
Well, because you said pineapple and mushroom, and that's a
Pineapple
little
mushroom.
too exotic combo for my taste. I'm just meat. Meat's good.
Meat and cheese.
Meat and cheese. More discussions going on between our umpiring crew.
Who've done a phenomenal job, by the way. I mean, the key to great officiating is to be unseen, and there haven't been any controversial plays. There haven't been any bad calls by the officials tonight. So kudos to the umpiring crew by staying out of the way, staying out of the picture.
Just camouflage. That pitch is high.
Having a great conversation with the bench over there from inside the batter's box.
Maybe Wes is asking if they have any tests tomorrow that he needs to study for. Runner takes second, unopposed, as the Pumas leave it open. That pitch is low and in the dirt.
I'm seeing a pattern here. It's either really high or it's really low.
Little activity on the base paths as West scampers off of second, but was able to hustle back before the tag. So West in the bottom part of your screen. Base hit, drops into shallow center. One run comes in. Another run comes in ahead of the tag. East surrendering 4 runs in the 4th inning and now getting those 4 runs back here in the 5th. Jorge Gonzalez now steps in.
I'm ready to tell Cristo Rey is getting tired.
I mean, both teams are laboring. I mean, we're coming up on 2.5 hours, and you know we're only in the top of the 5th inning. Ball skips down the first base line, but rolls just foul. Thornton
Solid form.
Yeah, Thornton retreats to second. This time finds the hole between first and second. Drives in Thornton. Solid single for Jorge Gonzalez.
16-9.
It's a football score. Even the East coach has lost track of the score. Ivan Ovalle, who started on the mound for East, moved over to third. He now steps up to the plate. Looks at strike one. Fouls one off, 0-2 in the hole. Runner takes off for third. Ovalle goes down swinging. bouncer through the infield. Double drives in another run. As Jorge Gonzalez lips home. 17-9 is now our score. Biggest offensive inning so far for East. Just as Cristo Rey had climbed back in and gotten within 2. Bears still attacking on the base paths. Mario Puente comes up with the runner on third. Gets out ahead of it, comes up empty. That pitch is in the dirt. Puente backs away. Marshall stays on third. Freezes him to end the inning, but not before the Bears score 6. So after 4.5 innings, East leads this one 17-9. And we're back for the bottom of the 5th inning. Ball scoots back to the fence. Lifts one high to right. Second baseman makes a play on the ball. J.P. Marshall with the putout.
Well, at least it didn't get lost in the lights this time.
One up, one down here in the bottom of the 5th. It's ball one. Ball two for Segura. Three straight balls. Gets crossed up on that one. 3 balls, 1 strike. Gonzalez has battled back to run it full. Loses the batter. Segura walks to first.
Si la avienta recio, va a sacar un tontazo. Si la avienta despacito, va a estar por medio. Vamos, Luisillo. Vamos, Luisillo. Vamos, Luisillo, ya.
Runner takes off for second. Will get in without a throw as the ball scoots away to the fence. Runner will stay at second.
Decídete, Luisillo. No quiere nada ya, papá. Tú como hasta aquí. Pero más que ya puesto. Ya no puede ser eso de antes.
Medrano gets out of the way.
It's always good to turn your back to the ball because you'd rather get hit in the back than you would in the throw.
Second walk issued here in the inning.
Viste que si le tira recio no tiene dirección. Si le tira despacito se la va a poner ahí en puro medio.
Póngase listo, vámonos, ahorita. Nomás fije bien la vista en la pelota, eso es todo.
Igual que ahorita, otro.
So now we have runners on first and second. Ball one. Throw sails into left field. Relay. Not in time. As the ball gets away from the catcher, run scores.
$17-10.
Good recovery defensively by the left fielder, but the relay not in time to catch the runner. Chopper back to the pitcher. Now you get the runner. Tag in time to catch the lead runner off of third, so on the fielder's choice. Goes down 1-5, the tag applied. Ball's in there for a strike. Ducks out of the way for that one. Ball gets to the backstop, and the runner stumbles but recovers and gets down to second. The ball four, so now the runner's on first and second. Cristo Ray fans getting worked up.
If you watch the pitching, if he throws slow, that's yours. He can throw fast. Ball. Nice, good eye.
The middle is going slow. The middle is going slow, okay?
He's going to throw slow. That's going to be right there in the middle. Es que ya no pude voltearlo, pero tiene que acá a este lado de la barrita, pues.
Come on, 11.
That was a... This is it. Well, pita, pita, man.
Fouls that one off. Steps off the rubber wheels back, takes a look at second, but no throw.
Se te va a quedar
That ball. Dixon thought it was ball 4.
Watch those pitch. Watch those pitch. He throws low. Watch it.
Dixon drove in 2 in her last at-bat. That one is indeed ball 4. So now the Pumas have the bases full.
Come on, man. I can't do that. That's a blue, man.
Got a timeout called on the field. Looks like we're having a pitching change for East. JP Marshall now comes in relief. Bases full, but there are 2 outs as we go through a pitching change. JP Marshall ready to step in and deliver his first pitch. Ball drops in for strike 1. That ball gets away to the backstop, but the runners stay where they are. And that walks in a run.
Ahora o nunca, papá. Espéralo, espéralo en medio. Te va a aventar te va a aventar unas papitas fritas ahí en el aire.
Recio, Carlos, para que se vengan todos, hijo, y ganamos.
Carlos Guadalupe swings at strike one.
Tú puedes. Ganamos y empatamos, Carlos. Es tuya, hijo. Ay.
Mira cómo te la está aventando, Carlos, es para que te puedas saltar hacia el grande.
Ball's in the dirt.
Wait a minute. Espéralo, Carlos, espéralo.
2 balls, 1 strike.
Espéralo, espéralo. Espéralo ya, Carlos.
Marshall having a tough time locating the plate.
Espéralo, Carlos, espéralo. Y esta va a ser menos que vaya por medio. Mira,
That ball gets away.
otra carrera, bien. Mira, papá.
That was ball 4, so that walks in back-to-back runners.
Marco, estás para hacerte grande, loco.
Demuestra tu grandeza, Marco.
Buena, buena, vamos, venga, venga. Te va a dar papitas fritas porque ya está dando despacito porque no las puede acomodar. Ay, loco, préndela al machizote.
Cristo's catching up real quick.
After those 2 runs, where do we now stand?
17-12.
17. Bases still loaded. And Marshall really not forcing the Pumas to take the bat off their shoulders. If you can't throw strikes, RBI still count the same, even without a hit. That one's in there for a strike.
Esta es la tuya, Marco.
That one finds the hole, sends it into right. 1 run is in. Dixon's hustling around without a throw. 2 more runs, and here come the Pumas.
¡Vamos, Marcos!
Échale, Castro, échale, que no pare,
¡Jonás!
Castro, échale.
¡Vámonos, hijo!
17-14. I mean, this truly is a football score.
Mira, ahí se le va ahí, marca la primera y la tiene recio. Venga, Jonás, venga, Jonás.
So far, the Pumas have doubled up their their run production from the last inning.
Pónganse listos. ¿Cómo pasan, Yelka? Pónganse listos.
The runner takes second.
¡Mira! Vamos, 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 ya la cosa está caliente. Venga, vamos, venga, venga. Jonás, ahora o nunca, papá. Mira, te va a entrar ahí una papita ahí de voladita. Voladita.
Nosotros somos los mejores con él.
No pone nada, no pone nada. Usted te va a meter un globito ahí porque ya no puede. Mira.
That ball goes behind the batter.
Vamos, Cristo Rey. Ahora no. El 4 ya, ¿no? Uy, papá, ese estaba buena.
Swing and a miss.
Bien, con las agarras y las prende allá.
3 balls, 1 strike.
Sí, sí, ahí estaba bien. Estaba otra silla porque está obligado ya. Está obligado, está despacito.
Fíjense cómo la saca, hijo.
¡Míralo! ¡Ay!
Lifts that one, but it hooks foul.
Igual, patrón, así, a esta pégale, a esta. Ahí la va a pegar, a la pura raya le va a pegar.
Está obligado, pero esto está así, Jonás. Te va a dar otra chance.
That is the problem with being a lefty.
Chula,
You get a lot of fouls. You can do that as a righty too, but lefties tend to do it more than us righties.
Let's go.
Third walk issued by Marshall. And again, the Pumas have the bases full.
Sencillo, te la voy a echar así como ahorita. No Jonás. Ponte listo.
Closest the Pumas have been since the first inning.
El juego se goza, hijos.
Mira.
Ball gets by the catcher. The throw hits the batter in the back. But the runner is safe.
17-15.
A base hit would tie the game and potentially give the Pumas their first lead of this contest.
Se puso bueno. Ya no la llega, mijo, ya no la llega. No puede pinchar. Mira, tío, te la va a poner así, güey, para que te pongas un buen batazazo.
Caminando, Luis. Te vas
I think the number 7's batting stance is very interesting. It's like straight up and down.
todo, Luis.
It's almost like that one gets by the pitcher. Second baseman makes the throw in time. But with 9 runs in that inning, 17-15. And the teams have agreed to call the game 17-15. It definitely was an interesting one.
Buen trabajo.
And we thank you for joining us. Thank you to the entire crew who made this one possible. Jillian and Maria and Terry and Dee, and I'm Kenitra. Thank you for joining us on the East YouTube channel for your KCPS IL High School Game of the Week. Again, competitive game. Cristo Rey battles back, puts up a 9 spot there in the 5th. 17-15 is the final score. So we hope you will join us next time Have a good night and stay dry because the rain's coming.